Heat 1. Riding in red, Arthur Atkinson. In blue, Alex Statham. In white, Frank Very. In yellow, Eric Collins. On the track, there is a great deal of tension and anticipation in the crowd of spectators who have one eye on the track and the other eye searching the sky for enemy warplanes. This tension is transmitted to the riders, each of them knowing they need to do well here tonight to fulfill the expectations of those in attendance at Wembley Stadium. Arthur Atkinson made the gate, powering towards the first bend with Alex Statham right behind him. Eric Collins took to the boards, preventing Frank Very's attempt to go mid-track and round Statham. Atkinson rode out of bend 2 onto the back straight, Statham right behind him, Collins taking Very coming out of the bend, Collins driving forward in pursuit of the two other English riders ahead of him. Atkinson kept tight to the line through bends 3 and 4 onto the home straight into lap 2, while Statham sat behind him on the line waiting for his chance to pass the West End rider. Collins was fighting off an attack by the hard-riding Frank Very, who was driving under Collins entering bend 1, lap 2. As Atkinson was exiting bend 2, lap 2, with Statham still right on his tail, Atkinson extended his lead through bends 3 and 4, lap 2, while Statham had his hands full with both Frank Very and Eric Collins probing for the way through. Very driving under Statham entering the home straight into lap 3. Eric Collins rode mid-track, drawing level with Statham as they both made their turn into bend 1, lap 3. Very once more drove under Statham, Collins going wide to the boards looking for the drive to take him past Statham, exiting bend 2, lap 3. Atkinson was half a lap ahead of the field as he kept tight to the line, entering bend 3, lap 3. Statham managed to hold off the pressing Very and Collins as they made their turns through bends 3 and 4, lap 3. Atkinson was onto the home straight, driving forward into bend 1, lap 4, glancing over his shoulder to assess the progress of his rivals. Statham still ahead of Collins and Very as they all drove out of bend 2, lap 4, hard down the back straight. Atkinson made his way through bend 3, lap 4, turning tight into bend 4, picking up grip and shooting towards the line. Statham emerging from bend 4 with Collins and Very racing him hard towards the line. Atkinson took the checkered flag comfortably, Frank Very nosing ahead of Alex Statham, who managed to bolt the last desperate lunge of Eric Collins as they crossed the line within touching distance of each other. Atkinson scores 3 points, Frank Very 2 points, Alex Statham 1, and Eric Collins 0 points. Already it's a game of chess, said Kelvin Tatum emphatically. This win puts Alex Already it's a game of chess, said Kelvin Tatum emphatically. This win puts Arthur Atkinson ahead of Cordy Mill by 1 point. But Alex Statham will be unhappy, dropping 1 point to Frank Very in the last few yards of this race. It's been a nervous start to the meeting, observed Nigel. These riders are so aware of what it is at stake here tonight, but you have to hand it to Arthur Atkinson for not letting his nerves get to him. He's certainly thrown the gauntlet down to Cordy Mill, who is now to respond in kind in Heat 4. Meanwhile, Big Brother Jack is out in the next race, said Kelvin, up against one of Great Britain's most fancied riders, Jack Parker. Jack Parker will certainly want to win this meeting, there is no doubt about that. But to do so, Kelvin, said Nigel, not only has he to overcome the 1937 world champion, but also world number 2 that year and world number 3 last year. Wilbur Lamoureux, who also has 7 bonus points to his name, 2 more than Jack Parker and 1 more than Jack Milne. We are only up to race 2, chuckled Kelvin, and already the permutations of this meeting are enough to tie anyone in knots, brave enough to predict the outcome of this next race, let alone the meeting itself. Seems like it's going to be a nail-biting occasion for all concerned tonight, said Nigel, none more so than for those riders out on the track right now. Heat 2, Jack Parker in red, Ron Johnson in blue, Wilbur Lamoureux in white, and in yellow, Jack Milne. On the track, Jack Milne and Wilbur Lamoureux wanted to take the world title on to America for safekeeping. Jack Parker wanted the world title to remain in Great Britain as a symbol of freedom. something the British people could point to as an indication that their grim determination would get them through the great trial of war now on their doorstep. With this thought in mind, Jack Parker shot out of the gate towards the first bend. Wilbur Lamoureux leaned hard on Ron Johnson, bouncing off the Australian. Jack Milne on the outside of his fellow American. All four made their turn into bend 1. The riders were bunched together, turning into bend 2, bouncing off each other, entering into the back straight. Parker slightly ahead of the two Americans, who were clawing back the English rider, trying to make headway on them. Along the back straight, Parker hung on to his lead. Lamoureux driving hard under Parker, entering bend 3. Milne taking the eye line, with Johnson riding mid-track on the American's tail. Parker clamped down on Lamoureux, keeping his hold on the line, exiting bend 4, with Jack Milne coming over the English rider's right shoulder as they powered towards the line into lap 2. Jack Milne continued around the boards into bend 1, lap 2, while Lamoureux still snapping at Parker's heels, trying to hustle the English rider off his line. Milne driving forward off the apex of the bend into bend 2, lap 2. Parker was still ahead, entering the back straight. The Americans side by side to prevent Johnson splitting them both. The Australian taking to the boards, hoping to sweep round the Americans, preoccupied with Parker. The English rider made his turn into bend 3, lap 2, with Lamoureux persistent in trying to drive Parker off his line. Jack Milne, just as consistent, riding around the outside of Parker, looking for drive out of bend 4, lap 2. Parker was ahead by half a bite length on the Americans as they all entered lap 3. Milne driving hard into bend 1, lap 3, making a hard turn, which straightened him up, coming into bend 2, lap 3, shooting him forward, splitting Parker and Lamoureux, entering the back straight. Parker had a fight on his hands, holding off Jack Milne, with Lamoureux taking advantage of Parker's decision to lean on Milne, balking the 1937 champion, allowing Lamoureux to gain a lead as the three riders made their way into bend 3, lap 3. Parker, with Jack Milne coming under him, entering the bend, cut back in sharp, picking up drive, thrusting forward out of bend 4, lap 3, inside of Jack Milne. Lamoureux just ahead on the line, Parker riding between him and Milne. Lamoureux had the lead over the line into lap 4, with Parker half a bite length behind him, side by side with Jack Milne. Ron Johnson sat behind them. Lamoureux made his turn into bend 1, lap 4. Parker turning in sharp again, pushing under the American as Lamoureux had Parker early in the race. Milne once more making his way around mid-track, making his turn onto the apex of the corner, picking up grip 2, shooting out of bend 2, lap 4, onto the back straight, level with Parker, who was still half a bite length behind Lamoureux. Lamoureux kept tight to the line, entering bend 3, lap 4. Jack Parker tight over his shoulder. Milne outside of Parker, making the turn into bend 4, lap 4. All three riders emerging onto the home straight, tied together. Ron Johnson right there with them. The riders made a frenetic dash to the line, bumping elbows as they tried to steal a march on each other. Jack Parker picking up the grip as he needed to push him across the line ahead of Lamoureux, who came in second, despite the spirited dash of Jack Milne to steal the win from his opponents. The winner, Jack Parker, with 3 points. Wilbur Lamoureux 2, Jack Milne 1, Ron Johnson 0. That was a very hard-fought race, said Kelvin. I really thought Jack Parker had lost it when Lamoureux got ahead of him. It struck me that he had lost interest for a moment when Jack Milne looked as if he was going to pass him too. It might be the occasion that lifted Parker, said Nigel, because I agree with you, Kelvin. Jack Parker did look as if though he was going to be bettered by the two Americans. In the end, he made it over the line, giving him 3 vital points. Those 2 points Lamoureux gathered in has put him level with Arthur Atkinson on 9 points. Eric Langton and Bill Kitchener are both level on 7 points, on 7 bonus points going into this next race, said Kelvin, which means that if either of them can win this race, one of them will be in the lead on 10 points, which means the pressure will be on Cody Milne to win Heat 4, confirmed Nigel. though I am sure both Eric Chitty and the original world champion Lionel van Praag will have something to say about the outcome of this race too. Heat 3. Eric Chitty in red, Eric Langton in blue, Bill Kitchen in white, Lionel Praag in yellow. On the track, Eric Langton made no mistake, gating sharply ahead of Bill Kitchen, riding straight forward to stymie the progress of Van Praag around the boards. Langton turning into bend 1 ahead of the field. Kitchen coming under Langton, entering bend 2, shoving his fellow British rider hard. Langton adhering to the line, determined to get the better of Kitchen and Van Praag, his nemesis of 1936. Out onto the back straight, Langton has a definitive lead. Kitchen taking Van Praag to the boards as the Australian attempts to go around the outside of the second-placed Englishman, with the Canadian Eric Chitty on the line, not fast enough to get under Kitchen. Langton makes a smooth turn into bend 3, Kitchen mid-track bulking Van Praag, who is trying to drive around the boards. Chitty taking the inside line, Kitchen cutting back in, exiting bend 4, Langton crossing the line into lap 2. Kitchen makes his turn into bend 1, lap 2, turning hard on the corner, driving forward once more under Langton, with Van Praag sitting mid-track holding out Chitty, who seems to be struggling with the Wembley circuit. Langton clamps down hard on Kitchen as they exit bend 2, lap 2. Van Praag looking to capitalise by driving down the outside of Langton, while his concentration is on Kitchen. Langton, aware of Van Praag's intentions, opens up the throttle of his machine, powering forward along the back straight into bend 3, lap 2, keeping tight to the line, a bite length ahead of Kitchen, who is pushing Van Praag out towards the fence. Langton turns through bend 4, lap 2, Kitchen once more pushing under him. Van Praag making the sweep around the boards. Chitty coming under Van Praag, trying to make a race of it against the Australian. Langton makes his way over the line into lap 3, Kitchen pressing his fellow Englishman. Van Praag keeping in touch, refusing to give away to the British riders, the Canadian equally determined not to disgrace himself here. It's Langton first into bend 1, lap 3, with Kitchen probing underneath him once again. Van Praag sitting on Kitchen's shoulder, trapping him to the line, exiting bend 2, lap 3. The Australian pulling slightly ahead of Kitchen on the back straight. Langton powers forward down the straight into bend 3, lap 3. Kitchen once again pushing at Van Praag, shoving the Australian mid-track. Bulking Chitty riding round the boards, attempting to get by Van Praag. Into bend 4, lap 3, Langton maintains his lead. Kitchen in second place, slightly leading Van Praag, exiting the bend down the home straight into lap 4. Van Praag pressing the issue, entering into bend 1, lap 4. Langton tight to the line, exits bend 2, lap 4, with Kitchen on a par with Van Praag along the back straight, each of them seeking to gain ground on Langton, balking each other in the process. Chitty out of contention, suffering engine problems. Langton turning into bend 3, lap 4, Kitchen and Van Praag right there with him, turning on the power, increasing the pressure on the leading rider, turning hard into bend 4, shooting forward, Langton thrusting towards the line, holding off the persistent Kitchen, who balks Van Praag, surge towards the line. And the winner is Langton with 3 points, Bill Kitchen 2, Lionel Van Praag 1, Eric Chitty 0. That was a fine ride by the dour Eric Langton, said Kelvin Tatum, as the English rider took the applause of the crowd. Fine enough to put him out front on 10 points overall, said Nigel Pearson. Langton is one of the favourites, and he's confirmed that with this emphatic win. Cordy Milne has it all to do in the next race, said Kelvin, and he has to contend with those two bright young Australian riders, Old Lawson and Vic Duggan. The question is, said Nigel, will Benny Kaufman be help or hindrance to Cordy Milne? I think we're about to find out. Heat 4. Riding in red, Vic Duggan; in blue, Cordy Milne; in white, Old Lawson; in yellow, Benny Kaufman. On the track, Cordy Milne made his way onto the shale, betraying no emotion as he rode round to the tapes. The two young Australians making a fuss at the gate, looking to unsettle Milne, who made his preparations indifferent to both Lawson and Duggan's tactics. The tapes rose. Cordy Milne glided smoothly out of the gate, Benny Kaufman taking to the boards as Lawson and Duggan came together, entering bend 1. Cordy Milne pulling away from the Australian pair, exiting bend 2 into the back straight. Kaufman rode round the boards, hoping to pass the two Australians who were locked together down the straight. Turning into bend 3 into line with each other in the wake of Milne, who exited bend 4, powering over the line into lap 2. Cordy Milne, always the bridesmaid, never the bride, had no intention of letting go of his leading position in this race or in the meeting overall. Thrust his way through the bends 1 and 2, lap 2, with the Australians tussling with each other down the back straight. Kaufman sat behind them, looking to split the pair at the first opportunity. Duggan getting ahead of Lawson, intent on making up ground on Cordy Milne. Milne drove into bend 3, lap 2. Duggan diving into the bend on the line, turning hard into bend 4, lap 2, looking for the shortest way around the track, looking for the grip to propel him forward into lap 3. Cordy Milne was still comfortably ahead into bend 1, lap 3, Duggan having drawn ahead of the inexperienced Lawson, who was now in a dogfight with Kaufman for third place, exited bend 2, lap 3. Milne made his way down the back straight, Duggan pressing him all the way. Milne turning tight into bend 3, lap 3. Duggan making up ground, the American making his way through bend 4, lap 3. Duggan was right behind Milne entering lap 4, the American holding line tight to the line, entering bend 1, lap 4. Duggan driving around mid-track, turning in hard, shooting straight forward out of bend 2, lap 4. Milne turns on the power straight down the back straight, aware that Duggan is breathing down his neck, the American turning tight into bend 3, lap 4. The young Australian driving full tilt into the bend, cutting back in tight, driving forward out of bend 4, lap 4. Milne, head down, drives hard to the line, holding off Duggan's determined efforts, with Kaufman getting the better of Lawson, who overslid, making his turn out of bend 4, leaving the door open for Kaufman to drive through for third place. Cordy Milne scores 3 points, Vic Duggan 2 points, Benny Kaufman 1, Ove Lawson 0. Cordy Milne provided a result against a group of riders you would expect him to beat, said Kelvin, but I suspect the British riders were hoping the new young blood from Australia would cause him problems. That didn't happen, Kelvin, added Nigel, and because of the controversial bonus point system, Cordy Milne leads the field by 1 point from a whole group of riders waiting for him to make a simple mistake. All the chess pieces have been moved forward 1 place, said Kelvin. Nothing is resolved, but as that race showed us, Cordy Milne is determined to add his name to the roll call of world champions. As you say, Nigel, it's up to those behind him to make sure they are in position to take advantage of any slip he might make. Back to the studio, said Nigel, for the views of the guys in the studio. What do we make of it so far, gentlemen, said Keith of his studio pundits. Cordy Milne certainly made it clear he is going to be there at the death, said Chris Lewis. Eric Langton is 1 point behind him, and Arthur Atkinson and Jack Parker are on 9 points. But so is Wilbur Lamoureux, said Steve Johnson, and I am pleased to say so is Vic Duggan, a rider who is earmarked for a great future in Speedway. Ove Lawson is not doing so well, coming last in his race. Duggan, however, qualified with 6 bonus points, and his second place leaves him 3 points behind Cordy Milne, but 1 point ahead of the 1937 world champion, who has 7 points to his name, as does Lionel Van Praagh, the 1936 world champion. So all in all, for a Speedway rider making his debut in a world final, Vic Duggan is flying the flag high for Australia. End of part 2.